Carolina on the ride. Carolina on the ride.
What's going on, Panther Nation? Bill Mack here with another edition of Panther Prowl. Glad you folks could join me for another video here as we have seen our beloved Panthers pick up and bounce back from a 2-game losing streak to come up victorious at Tampa Bay to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 17-3. Here are the stats for you in this recap of the game. Cam was 18 of 32 for 154 yards, 1 TD, and 1 interception with a 66.4 rating. Newton also was our leading rusher once again, which is something that I totally don't want to get too much into, but needless to say, he was 11 carries for 44 yards. We had Jay Stu, he ran 11 times for 34 yards and got his first rushing TD of the season. So congratulations to Jay Stu on that. McCaffrey was our leading receiver, 5 catches for 49 yards. Of course, Kelvin Benjamin with 3 catches, 39 yards, and he got a receiving touchdown. So congratulations to him, and good to see Cam get back into the end zone. Gano, of course, was hurt. We didn't know whether he was going to be able to play, but he was 1 for 1 on field goals and 2 for 2 for extra points. So glad to see he was able to make the game. Our defense was really stout. Our defense really carried us this game. We had good to see Kurt Coleman back. He, of course, led the Panthers with tackles, 7 tackles and 2 assists. Of course, Luke Kuechly, the quarterback of the defense, he was back, 6 tackles, 2 assists, and he had, of course, 1 interception. Mike Adams done well as he did. He got 3 tackles, 1 interception. Peppers, of course, 2 tackles, 1 sack, which moved him into 4th all-time in sacks. So congratulations to Julius Peppers for moving into 4th all-time. And plus, he got the game ball for today's game. So congratulations. Of course, Super Mario Addison had 3 tackles, 2 assists, and he had 1.5 sacks. So our defense carried the way here. Now we go look on to the other side. Tampa Bay, of course, Jameis Winston was 21 of 38, 210 yards. He, of course, had 2 interceptions. Doug Martin, he carried the ball really pretty good for Tampa Bay. He had 18 carries on 71 yards. And the wide receivers, Brait and Mike Evans, were 4 catches, 64 yards, and 5 catches for 60 yards. And Murray, the punter, the kicker, was 1 for 1 in field goals. And their defensive was Conti was 8 tackles, 1 assist, 1 interception. Alexander, of course, had 6 tackles, 4 assists, and Hargraves had 5 tackles, 1 assist. So as we look at these two and compare these stats, it just shows you how much our defense was really into this, and it was good, the difference maker of having Luke Kuechly and Kurt Coleman back in the lineup, as we saw both of these guys talking, and you can see the difference in the way the defense reacted. Of course, last week, remember, our defense really only gave up 3 points then, so our defense has really been doing well, but I'll get back to that in just a few minutes. Total team stats here. The Panthers were 154 yards passing, 100 yards rushing for a total of 254 yards. Tampa Bay was 194 passing, 85 rushing for 279 yards. So once again, keeping another team under 100 yards rushing. So that's why we're not in the top 5. We're not a top 5 team in rushing for nothing, folks. Of course, our Panthers had 3 sacks, 1 INT, and we had penalties of 5 for 51 yards. We look on the Tampa Bay side, they had 2 interceptions and 6 penalties for 55 yards. So I felt like there was a lot going on in the game. Cam, of course, wasn't as consistent as we were hoping he would have a bounce-back game with this. Of course, the Carolina highs of the game was that the defense kept Carolina in the game the whole time. The secondary kept Evans and Deshaun Jackson, both highly touted receivers, on lockdown for basically most of the game. Credit Bradbury and Worley, and of course Coleman and them for keeping that secondary, because our secondary is what's been really helping us as well. We've not been giving up the big plays. They haven't been giving up. There was one time Worley got burnt, but the ball went off. Winston overthrew Evans for it. Also, we see Peppers, of course, like I had mentioned. The highest spot was he got the sack, which moved him into fourth place all time. And like I said, Luke Kuechly and Coleman back were a big impact returning for the defense. You can see them both each talking and trying to keep the defense going during this game. They were each talking to the defense and trying to pump them up, the secondary. It was just a great thing to see, and glad to see Luke come back. Our front four, of course, I will applaud them this week. They applied pressure to Winston, where they got the 3 sacks, and I think it was 5 straight games where they had sacks. It was good to see them get pressure on Winston. It took him out of his element. They kept him contained. Like I said, he threw 2 interceptions, where coming into the game he had just 4 altogether. So it was good to see him throw 2 interceptions. And just keep Winston basically off guard all day. Now, with the highs as well, here we are with the lows. The offense basically sputtered. Our defense what kept us in the game. Our offense was just horrible when it came throughout the whole game. Yes, granted, Stewart did get into the end zone as Cam finally found Benjamin, but of course Cam was still not. Was not consistent as he was, and still running the ball instead of which was leading to that Cam again being the lead rusher. By that means the O-line is still not functioning like they should be, and by not having Ryan Khalil and Trey Turner, 2 of their starting offensive linemen, which Ryan Khalil is the center, Pro Bowl center for them, and Trey Turner. It's a big difference in that front line. They're not able to get the push. They're not able to open up spaces and gaps and be able to give our rushers any kind of whatsoever when it comes to basically allowing them to open up to get rushes. I mean, we were fortunate to rush 100 yards today. Of course, like I said, Cam had 44 yards of that 100 yards rushing. So, also, too, his penalties in the first half really hurt us. I mean, we didn't really score but 7 points in the second half. So, that was really telling of where our offense really was. And for it to be 17-3, it just shows you how much our defense has really been keeping us into these games. So, that really was. Like I said, once again, is that missing, maybe hopefully, Khalil gets better, Trey Turner gets better, because without these guys, our offensive line really is suffering right now, and they're not able to create the gaps and get the push. Most of the game, you could see the defensive linemen, a lot of times, being able to be in the backfield to meet the rushers. They weren't getting much rushing done. Cam getting spurts or Cam trying to go for a first down was basically the only kind of rushing offense that we had. So, needless to say, Panther fans, Panther Nation, I'm very happy to hear it. I'm really happy to get another win. We're still in second place. We're 5-3. Of course, New Orleans won today. Atlanta won today. So everybody's basically still keeping up. But the Panthers are 5-3, second place. And I'm satisfied with the win. So I think next week we go against Atlanta and then Miami, and then we'll look forward to taking those games and just trying to get some more victories in and build in that division. Our divisions, they beat them down division. We're a rugged division, but that doesn't stop us from just making us stronger. So I hope you folks, if you like this video, if you do, drop a like on this video, comment. If you have any comments you want to make, drop them in the comment box here. I'll get to them and read them as much as I can. Anything you want to see or hear, feel free to let me know. Any questions, just ask. I'll definitely get to your answers and reply back to them. So, and also, too, is subscribe to my channel. Trying to build my channel up. Trying to have a lot of sports on them when I can. So, any of you Panther fans, like it, Panther Nation, hey, feel free to give me a thumbs up. And also to subscribe and share my videos. So, until next time, this is Bill Mack with Panther Prowl saying, keep pounding.
Oh,